Hi, Kaplan World. My name is Leslie Robertson, and I am a former Butler nursing student from Butler Community College in El Dorado, Kansas. I graduated from Butler on, let me see, it was December 7th of 2017, and I took my NCLEX on January 4th of 2018. So let me reintroduce myself. My name is Leslie Robertson, RN. I did pass the NCLEX on the first try, and this is extremely significant for me, and I would like to explain a little bit about myself as to why. I am 35 years old. I'm married. I have two kids. My son is 17, and my daughter is 10. And if you do the math, I was a young mother, and I had other obligations besides school at a very young age. So school wasn't an option at that point, but when it was, my family and I decided that I needed to run through that door. I have always wanted to be a nurse. It's just in my blood. I've always wanted to be a nurse. So when that door opened, I went through. And, you know, starting school at 30 is extremely intimidating. You know, especially when you weren't exactly the best at school in the first place. And it's not that I wasn't good at school. What I wasn't good at is test taking. I freak out at the sight of a test. I freak out at the thought of a test. And it's not that I don't know the curriculum. It's not that I'm not good enough or smart enough. It's just that my brain, the first time I'm taking a test and I see a word, sometimes, you know, that word that I had studied a million times, I would just go blank. And once that happens on one question, then it screws up the whole test. You can't come back from that. And if you don't have test anxiety, you don't know what I'm talking about, and that's okay. That's great. But if you do have test anxiety, then I hope that my story will help you. When we started at Butler, in first semester, we were introduced to KAPLAN within the first couple of days. And we have actually used KAPLAN courses our entire time at Butler. We had to take tests every single semester with KAPLAN. And if we fell below national average for those exams, then we were asked to remediate. So, you know, when you first start this process, it's kind of hard because all the topics are above your head anyway. But when you start to learn more and as each semester passes, it becomes easier. And I really began to enjoy KAPLAN. I actually understood KAPLAN at times more than I even understood my own course. But with KAPLAN, you're not exactly learning content. What you're learning is how to take the NCLEX, and we were learning this from pretty much day one. So fast forward to fourth semester, we're still using KAPLAN courses, but our school now calls in KAPLAN prep course for NCLEX. That too was part of our curriculum, and it was so much a part of our curriculum that it was considered clinical hours, meaning that if we missed, we probably would not pass. So they called in KAPLAN, and we took the prep course at school. And I am so grateful that we did this. I can't even explain to you how grateful I am that Butler provided this for us. While in the prep course, you know, us using KAPLAN since pretty much day one, we had been introduced to the decision tree. But I found out that I had been using the decision tree all wrong. And I also found out that I had been looking for the wrong keywords, and I had been reading the questions wrong, and I didn't know that we could just throw out psych words if it didn't apply. If it wasn't a psychiatric question, just throw it out. Didn't know you could do that. You know, I thought every single answer went with the question, but that's not the case. And so we went through this class for 3 days, and I walked out of there confident, and that's something that I don't do. I felt like I could pass the NCLEX at that point. At that exact moment, I felt like I could pass the NCLEX. So we graduate, you know, a week later we take our final and we have our graduation, and I had given myself a break in that time. And the day after graduation, I had worked in the medical field this whole time as a CMA, and I had talked to other nurses that had graduated from other programs, and they all said, oh, you need to get this book. Get this one book, blah, blah, blah. It's going to help you, and I'm not going to name the book, but I'm sure some of you have purchased it. And I'm going to tell you guys something. The day after graduation, I came home and I opened this book, and I started reading this book. And I made it to probably about, I don't know, a couple pages into the first chapter. And my thought was, and it became a panicked thought, was I'm going to have to read this entire book to study. I had already scheduled my NCLEX, and it was less than a month away. This book is thick. How am I supposed to do this? And am I even going to be able to remember the things that I don't understand? I mean, is it even going to touch on that stuff? So I shut the book. And I went and grabbed my laptop, and I opened up KAPLAN. And I just decided that if my school had that much faith in KAPLAN, and I'm going to tell you guys my school has an extremely high pass rate, but if my school has that much faith in KAPLAN, then I probably should too. I don't think my school would lead me astray. I think they like their reputation. So I opened up KAPLAN and I started taking the exams. And here's where we're going to get into the important stuff, okay? I'm sorry, I've been fighting a cold. First off, you need to understand these exams. These exams are set up to be hard, okay? Anybody that walks in there thinking, or not walks in, but logs on thinking that you're going to score 100 on these exams, you're wrong. And I think that's why most people don't give this a shot, is because their first exam, they scored a 50 or 60. That's good. That's okay. You're supposed to. These exams are set up to get you thinking. It's going to show you different forms of questions that you probably have never seen before, and they are hard. 50s and 60s, that's good. They say that passing one of these exams is 60 or higher. So yay, keep going. A 60 isn't bad. Don't beat yourself up. You got to get yourself out of the mind frame of being graded, okay? First off. Secondly, the cool thing about these tests are they will adapt to you. A book that somebody suggests is not going to adapt to you and your needs. It just won't. You can't open a book and start reading and it's going to say, hey, you're lacking here, go read here. No, but KAPLAN does. When you take these exams, the first thing that you need to do after your exam is you need to go and remediate. And what I mean by remediate is you need to go and read through all of your questions, whether you got them right or wrong, and you need to understand on your wrong ones, why did you get them wrong? Did you not understand the question? Did you not understand the content? You need to understand why you got these wrong. But on your right ones, did you just guess, or did you actually know the question? Were you able to actually read the question and use the decision tree to get through it to pick the right answer? You need to know, right or wrong, why you got it right or wrong. But after you remediate, there's a button where you summarize your test. And here's the important part, okay? When you summarize your test, it's going to break it up into groups. It's going to show you your strong points and your weak points in each group, okay? This is very important because I have this book. And I know I said books were bad, but this one's very good because it goes with the program, okay? So in this book that you're provided by KAPLAN, all those sections that it breaks it up in your weak and high points, your weak and best points, let's call them that. Then when you turn to the table of contents, you're going to find these exact same, they're the exact same sections that they broke them up in. So the ones that you're strong in, you don't need to study again, okay, for that test. Now, they may be weak in another test, but for this test, you don't need to study it. The ones that you're weak in, you need to study it, okay? And you just study these pages of that section that it's under. It's amazing. So you're not studying content that you don't need to. You're studying strictly what you need, not what your classmate needs, not what the school wants you to know. What do you need? What do you need? That's amazing, okay? So you take this book and you read it. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. After taking a bunch of these tests, because there's a lot of them, I realized a pattern. I was weak in the exact same spot over and over again. So I kept reading it. So you start to see your scores go up. Okay, so what was once, I think my lowest score was a 48, and I think my highest was a 66. So, and not to mention that I had the course to go back on. They have the course recorded. If you didn't get to see it in person, you still get to go back and watch it just to make sure that you're doing everything that you can. And when you're taking this course, you also need to make sure that you are taking it step by step. They have it split out into sections on purpose, okay? So now that we've talked about the prep course, I would like to talk to you about the CAT system that they also have. I took it upon myself to purchase the KAPLAN CAT. Now, what this is it is an adaptive testing system that mimics the NCLEX. You are expected to sit there for 6 hours like you would given the NCLEX, okay? You're given the exact same amount of time, the exact same amount of questions, and this test is going to turn off if you're doing really bad, or it's going to turn off if you're doing really good. It's going to stop when it thinks that you've reached either one of those, okay? So it mimics the NCLEX. This was important for me because anybody who has test anxiety, I would suggest getting this one as well. You're going to feel anxious while taking these tests, but you're going to get it out. The cool thing about these tests is it's set up like a stoplight, okay? So green means good, it means go. Yellow means you may need to work on it. And red means stop, you need to study, all right? And the first thing that you're going to see, you can't go back and remediate these tests, but that's okay. You don't need to. But the very first thing that you're going to see is you're going to see whether you passed, which will be green, or if you kind of passed, which is going to be yellow. And even if you didn't pass, but you were close, it's going to be yellow. Or if it was red, you just didn't pass at all. You're going to see that. But then, guys, the same sections that were in the NCLEX prep course are going to be on this as well. And each one of those is set up as a stoplight as well. So you know exactly what you need to study again. Why didn't you pass the test? Or if you did, what do you need to work on to make sure you can pass it even better, okay? So all you have to do is reference your book again and go back and read. And you get 3 of these tests. Now, can't go back and retake these, okay? And you can't remediate them. But I'm going to tell you guys I was extremely happy that I bought it because with every test that I took, all you're doing is sitting there and taking tests. And when you're sitting there and taking tests and it becomes the normalization of your life, then your anxiety is really low. I actually walked into my NCLEX calm, and that is strange for me. Normally I'm freaking out, but I was ready. There is no doubt that I was ready. And I sat down on my computer and I did get anxious, okay? But it's not even close to what it used to be. My mind did not go blank. I was still able to maintain control and remember the decision tree, what I was supposed to do, the keywords I was supposed to look for, if I didn't know the content, whether we're looking at an assessment or implementation. I mean, all this is important, okay? I was able to maintain control, and that's important. I controlled my brain. I didn't allow it to freak out. I had the tools that I needed to make sure that I was able to take this exam. And I made it to 103 questions, and I will admit that I freaked out when it shut off. But I had also remembered that KAPLAN had said that if the computer hadn't given up on you, you don't give up on the computer. And I knew that I made it pretty far. And I walked away from there, and I was still anxious, and I think we're all going to be anxious after we take this test, and I think that's normal. But I definitely was not even close to as anxious as what I think I probably would have been had I not had KAPLAN. And, I'm going to tell you guys a secret. KAPLAN has a money-back guarantee, and you honestly have to ask yourself why. Okay? They would not have a one-time pass rate for no reason. They wouldn't guarantee it for no reason. But I'm going to tell you another secret. If you're not applying yourself and you just bought KAPLAN and you didn't take any of the exams, you're not going to get your money back. But I would use it to take the NCLEX again. You have to be the one to apply yourself. Okay, they're giving you everything that you need, everything. you have to apply it. And if you do that, their guarantee you won't need your money back because you're going to be a nurse. I really believe that I passed because of Kaplan. You know, I know the content, but if you have the anxiety like I do, and I think anybody's going to have anxiety when everything's on the line at this point, when you have anxiety, it's just nice to have the tools that you need to fall back on. And Kaplan provided that for me. So from one student to another, I'm just going to ask you, if your school provides this for you, please do everything you can to pay attention, take notes, ask questions. We're all there for the same reason. Ask questions, okay? You're going to kick yourself if you don't. If you don't understand something, Kaplan's always there to help you. You can call them. They're there to help you, even when class ends. If your school does not provide this for you, I would suggest buying it. And they offer classes online or in person, and I honestly would suggest going in person if you can, if it's in your area. I feel that this is beneficial to everybody. So that is my story. That is my success story, actually. And again, I'm Leslie Robertson, RN, and you're going to be an RN too if you just follow Kaplan. Thank you for listening to my story, and I hope it helped you. Bye.